So, David fucking Coote. It's been a wild few days in English football, am I right? Yeah, we all saw it. We all saw both videos. Well, technically, I guess 3 videos. Well, in the first one, when David Coote basically calls Jürgen a quote, German cunt. And the second video where he appears to be snorting a certain white powder. Well, what does this reveal about the situation of refereeing in general in English football? That's a loaded question, I think, and requires a complex answer. I don't think I'm gonna give a complex answer here, but I'm gonna try and give a simple opinion of how I think, as like a normal average fan, that this situation should be handled. First of all, let's see what this actually reveals, right? What does this whole situation reveal? Well, to put it simply, it just reveals bias and the human nature of humans, right? David Coote was off his face saying stuff he would never have said in any other situation, right? So I don't think this is like a massive insult towards Liverpool fans or Liverpool as a club or pretty much anyone in particular except for Jurgen Klopp. So I don't think this is as much of a big deal. What I think would follow from this is just that I think this is the maximum that can happen, is that David Coote will just be forbidden from ever refereeing Liverpool games again. I think that's what will happen. He would be basically barred from being a ref, a fourth official, or a VAR on Liverpool games, and that would just be that. I don't think he's gonna lose the ability to referee a game ever again. I don't think that's what will happen. I don't think he will be quote unquote fired, and I think he may be demoted. He will be forced to referee games in lower leagues for some time maybe. But ultimately, this thing that I think probably will stick is basically this ban on David Coote refereeing any Liverpool games. So, what's the bigger picture here? That's my question, right? Does this reveal some massive corruption on the part of the Premier League and PGMOL and the media and everyone involved? I don't think that goes that deep, to be honest. I just don't think that goes that deep. I don't think that there is like an overarching plot against any club in particular, because every fan of every team thinks that their team specifically is getting fucked over in some way, right? Nobody's out here saying that, oh, you know what? These referees have been really nice to us lately. They have been giving us really soft penalties, and they have been lenient in dishing out all the cards and so on and so forth. I have never ever heard a person talk like that about a referee in connection with their team. It's always that, oh, we're getting fucked over. Oh, we're getting every decision against us. Every 50-50 goes against us. Everything goes against us. There's a massive conspiracy. No matter how big or small your team might be, you think that there's a massive conspiracy against your own team particularly. So there's a conspiracy against every team. So who the fuck benefits in the end? I think that's a moot point. That's just not what's happening. I don't think that's happening, at least. And I hope that's not happening, because it would just bring the game into massive disrepute across every single facet. And that's just, I don't know, that's just a plot twist that we have been living in a lie for all our lives. Like, you've been watching WWE scripted wrestling type of shit when you think you're watching like genuine sport. So I don't think this overarching conspiracy is a thing, and I don't think that's actually happening. I just think there's one referee who dislikes Jurgen Klopp. He may dislike Liverpool because at the end this guy who was filming him said that we all hate Scousers. So I don't know if Coote agrees with that or disagrees with that, because like video just simply cuts off right there. So we don't know his rebuttal that says, oh yeah, fuck the Scousers, fuck them all. Or he says just like, oh no, please no, I don't mean to say fuck all the Scousers. I don't mean to say we hate them all. No. We don't have the rebuttal. We don't have the answer from Coote on that. So it could be that he hates Scousers, or he could be that he doesn't hate Scousers. So I don't know. And neither do you. And neither does anyone else apart from Coote and, I don't know, people who have talked about this stuff with Coote. And right, if you're a Liverpool fan, you may feel a bit more, you may feel stronger about this, and I get it, because it like affects your club directly, and your previous manager and your club and the game you were involved with were like verbatim referenced in this video, right? But I just think that's a certain ref voicing his opinion, and I think all the refs have opinions, and I genuinely understand how one might get upset at Jurgen Klopp, because in every game, no matter how small or big a decision goes against the team, their coach, their manager is in the ear of the fourth official immediately complaining. It doesn't matter if it's a throw that was given the right way, but just this manager thinks that it should have gone his way. It doesn't matter if it's like just a simple thing like that, or it's some kind of a decision that affects not just the game, but the whole season, right? So, and Klopp is a vocal guy. We all seen him pull different faces to the referees. He's fucking massive, man. Like, Klopp is like 6'5". He's an intimidating guy. You don't really have a positive opinion of a 6'5" German guy yelling in your ear. I don't think anybody would have a good opinion when put into that situation themselves. Imagine you're the fourth official and fucking Jurgen Klopp is screaming in your ear about a throw that the referee on the pitch has given the right way even, right? So I get why you might get upset about Klopp. It's in the heat of the moment, everybody wants to win, and you as a referee try to be impartial, right? I don't know, maybe because you have this negative experience with a certain manager, then you are inclined to fuck his team over in any little way that you can get away with, basically. And I don't know, some people have been pointing out to different instances where Coote was either the referee or the VAR or somehow involved that went against Liverpool, and there are some like major decisions being called into question, like when Pickford injured Van Dijk. That incident was brought up, and again, yeah, it's a major thing. I think Coote was VAR on that decision. It's a major thing. It's a thing that affected Liverpool's season massively. I don't think even if Pickford was sent off in that moment, that would have helped Liverpool in any way that season, because Van Dijk already went out injured, and you can't just like magically heal his knee by sending off Pickford, right? So again, that's not that massive in the long run. Liverpool still made it to the Champions League that season. They couldn't have been in contention for anything else because Van Dijk was injured. Either way, he's injured either way. In that game, okay, maybe they could have won that game even. I think it finished as a draw. Maybe if they won that game, the ultimate consequence of this is that they would not have had needed Alisson's goal against West Brom to qualify for the Champions League. That moment wouldn't have happened. But that's a whole different tangent, right? I just want to say, like, referees, this whole situation proves that referees have bias. And it's obvious that referees will have bias. And the bias is either something that they've already had. I don't know, this referee has grown up all his life hating, I don't know, Arsenal, whatever, right? And every time he gets a chance, he fucks over Arsenal, right? And this maybe have developed over time. Like, oh, you had several bad experiences with this instance, Klopp, right? And the next time you referee a game involving Jurgen Klopp, you have to fuck him over because you don't like him, right? That's bias. That is bias, and that should not be allowed. And that's an extremely valid point. Referees have to put the bias aside, right? I'm not saying that could intentionally fuck Liverpool over in other games, but I'm saying that he might have. We don't know. Only he knows, right? So there is bias. And how do we deal with this fact that there is bias, right? So what I think is, first, you gotta make the rules watertight. So the football rules are basically legislation. And when people make legislation in like government level, they try to close the loopholes in this legislation. So they try to make the laws so that you cannot exploit some loopholes to your benefit and other people's detriment, right? So first of all, the rules in football have to be set up that way, right? If you're expecting me to go on a rant how VAR is bad and how it should be removed, you are watching a wrong video, my friend. You need to watch something else, because I will vehemently defend VAR, because I think this is an ultimately good system. I don't think VAR should go. This is pretty much an insane opinion, I think. No, not necessarily insane opinion, that's too much, but I just don't agree with it, right? So I don't agree that VAR should go. What people say that VAR has taken away from them is, it takes away from the fan experience and it doesn't work the way it should, right? So they think it should be 100% correct 100% of the time, right? So that's one reason where we need to fix rules, right? So how do we make the system that is manned by people as efficient as possible, right? So you need to make the rules as good as possible. So for example, I would say handball rule, right? So there are so many caveats to this handball rule that two people looking at the same incident can come up with two different answers and two different decisions, right? So we have to make the rules so that that cannot happen, right? So, for example, what constitutes a handball? It has to be in an unnatural position, and it has to be deliberate, and it has to be all the things. I think that's bullshit. I think that needs to go, and I think we need to go back to this harsher handball rule, and I think it should be judged by a simple criteria. if the ball hits the hand like below the sleeve, I don't know, sleeve is like there on a normal football shirt, right? So if the ball hits you below the sleeve on your arm, then it should be handball. No matter if it's in a natural position, unnatural position, it's deliberate or accidental or what have you. It's tough luck if you're leaning on the hand to catch yourself from falling or whatever. It's tough luck, it's unlucky, but you can get the same luck yourself, right? So it's unlucky for you in some other game, or even maybe in that exact game, it can be unlucky for your opponent, right? But at least the rules will be consistent, so people won't be moaning about, oh, why did he give this handball here, but not this handball here? Because both of them will either be given or not given, right? The only caveat in this rule needs is if your arm is tied to your body. Like if it's like that and hits you here, okay, fine, that doesn't count as handball, right? If it's like right by your side and it's touching your body, and if it hits there, okay, fine, not count as a handball. But any other time, if it's away from your body, hits below the sleeve, again, automatic handball, just give the penalty or a foul or whatever, and be done with it, right? That makes it consistent, and so the people will be moaning less about this. The rule is the rule, and the referee is using this rule to judge the game, right? And this should be for everything. Offside, okay, this offside rule now, the way it works is, it works in these very specific lines, right? But any type of rule you introduce with offside, you have to draw the lines somewhere, right? If you give it just the eye test, sometimes the eye test is just wrong. The only thing I can see how to tweak this offside rule is maybe just draw a line for the defender and just give the attacker an eye test, right? So again, we can agree that just having your toenail offside doesn't give you the advantage, and that's not what the offside rules was introduced for, right? There's also another suggestion by Arsene Wenger where your whole body should be closer to the goal for it to count offside. But then again, it would have like the VAR would have to draw lines again, and there would be moaning again because this line is too close. Why does that count? Right? So it would still be this inconsistent thing. But at least now, the way it is set up, you just know that beyond this line, it's offside. Like behind it, it's onside. And the only thing I can see is just maybe you can do it like just draw the line for the defender and just look at the attacker, give it the eye test. If it like seems offside, just give it offside, and if it seems onside, just give it onside. Right? There are tweaks to these rules that can be done in order to make them better, in order to leave less up to the interpretation of the referee. So if referee has no way to interpret a incident, he cannot insert his own bias into it, right? So that is one way. I'm not saying that the referee is biased, but to guard against the bias, which has been shown on tape from Coote, to guard against that, then we have to make the rules more tight, right? And I think that's one way to help it. And this needs VAR. The VAR, people say that it like makes the fan experience worse. I don't know, man. For all the years I've watched football, nothing has made my fan experience worse than being cheated out of a result. And nothing has made me feel worse. Nothing, right? I can't wait for VAR to come to a decision about anything. I'd rather wait for that and then celebrate rather than just be absolutely pissed off at something that is just a complete injustice, right? What VAR has given to us is not 100% of decisions going 100% correct. It has just given us matches that are not complete shit shows, right? In this modern age of VAR, you don't have something like South Korea versus Spain or South Korea versus Italy in 2002 World Cup. You don't have something like Barcelona versus Chelsea, the return leg, right? So Chelsea versus Barcelona, 2009 semi-final Champions League. You don't have these games where the decision after decision is wrong, right? It either goes like in the favor of one team, like, I don't know, 2002 World Cup, Spain versus South Korea. 2 goals for Spain were ruled out like for no reason. I remember, I think it's Morientes who scores this. Cross comes in and the ball is not even near the goal line, let alone even near to crossing the goal line, and just crosses the ball and he heads it in. If you have VAR, the VAR just looks at it. Even if the linesman tries to rule it out, VAR would look at it and say, wait a minute, there's still like a yard until the goal line, so this goal should be legal, this goal should count, right? There are so many matches that would have gone completely differently if they had VAR. Like 2 separate Argentinian number 10s have scored a goal with their hand. Just let alone like that small niche definition of thing has happened twice in football history. And I don't know. I think what ruins fan experience is injustice more than just waiting for the ultimately, most of the time, correct answer, right? And I find that it adds to my fan experience that if my team concedes a goal, there's a way higher chance that this goal might be ruled out. Offside might be looked at, a foul in build-up might be looked at, any little thing might be looked at, and my team might be spared from conceding a goal. I think that adds to my experience. I can tell you how many times I have celebrated that the opposition's goal was ruled out, right? And so have you. So it adds some. I think it adds some positive fan experience. I think it does detract from another aspect of fan experience, but I think overall it's a good system. It will help keep the bias out if the rules are made better. I think the rules should be made better to keep the bias out of Premier League and any other league for that matter. And what this video and just this whole thing with David Coote proves is that there is bias present in referees. Whether it comes out when they're plastered or whether it comes out in a game, it's irrelevant, because if it exists, we need to guard against it, and we need to guard against it by making better rules which allow for less interpretation and therefore less bias. This is my opinion. This is basically my takeaway from all of this situation, right? I don't think David Coote deserves to lose everything for this. I don't think that PGMOL needs to be discarded. I don't think any of this needs to be done. I don't think any drastic measures need to take place. I just think that we need to set up the rules in a way to allow as little bias as possible. That's what I think. And if we can get that, I think we get a better game, and I think we get much less moaning from people. People like to moan, people like to complain, and people will always find something that they think is unjust in connection with their team and with their results and whatsoever, right? But in order to lessen that, I think we need just better, more tight rules, more binary rules, which don't allow for interpretation and bias, right? So you get a consistent decisions between 2 similar instances. That's it. That's basically my takeaway from this. I don't know. I have not seen anyone mention this particular point. I've seen people mention like, oh, there's nothing, come on, just get over it. I've seen people saying like, oh, we need to investigate PGMOL, we need to destroy PGMOL, we need to fire every referee, we need to bring in referees from other countries to referee our games. I don't think any of that is a viable solution, right? I don't like PGMOL. I don't like that it's headed by Howard Webb, who has refereed the biggest game in football in an incredible, terrible way. In 2010 World Cup final, the refereeing from Howard Webb was one of the worst I have ever seen. And how this man still managed to retain a job as a referee is beyond me. It was just so bad. It was so many decisions that just went wrong in that game. So many things he didn't see. And so many cards that he didn't show. And it's, oh my God, it was just so bad. And this guy is in charge of PGMOL, and that is, we need someone better than that. England has had way better referees than Howard Webb. Much better referees than Howard Webb. A referee who his career was basically ended after he showed 3 yellow cards to a guy. It was Graham Paul, this referee. I think he was a much better referee. I think he was way better than Howard Webb. Howard Webb was constantly accused of bias and everything wrong with refereeing. I hated the guy. He was not a good ref, and he's somehow in charge of refs, right? Well, the FIFA had to at least have Colina in charge of refs, who was an absolutely magnificent referee, and England have this like idiot in charge of the referees. I think if anybody should be fired, it's Howard Webb. It led me to a whole different tangent on the end of the video, man. But it is what it is. So I don't know. This is just my opinion. If you agree with it, well, fine. I don't know. Just comment your thoughts. If even somebody sees this fucking thing, I don't know. I want to keep uploading some stuff, some other stuff that I think I have valid opinions on. I think the next video I'm probably gonna be uploading is looking at what's happening at Lyon and how can other teams benefit by basically taking their players for a cheap fee in January. And I have a few other video ideas, so I don't know if you like this. Maybe you can subscribe, and in the future I can bring some more of these videos and some more, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about football, so I'm gonna make a video at a time to showcase them. So until then, so long.